Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Platinum versus Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill 2022, which took place January 8th, 2022. And guess what? It was fucking good, good, good. I was exhausted last night after a night of helping to run the locker room of a show and, the after show shenanigans that I tend to get into. But I still, I put on the show thinking I'll probably fall asleep during it. Instead, it kept me up. It was very good. The pre show match, we're just going to jump right in. Jake something against Madman Fulton. And I jotted down in my notes, boy, I hope Jake something wins this, but he probably won't. And he won. Was it the greatest match? Not really, but it really showed what's good about Jake something. And the win itself is important for sure. Speedball Mike Bailey, who I've heard about by reputation and seen clips of wrestling, but never got to see wrestle, in the other pre-show match against Chris Bay, Ace Austin, and Laredo Kid. If you got those three guys in there, you know the match is going to be very good and very impact-like. Like this is going to be one of those matches where there's a ton of spots and ton of crazy stuff happens. And Speedball Mike Bailey did not disappoint. Boy, it was all hands on deck to make sure he could do his thing. He ends up getting the pin. It's just jaw-dropping kind of moves, the kind of things that I'm afraid that we kind of take for granted. But man, it was fantastic. The pay-per-view officially opened, and you had the Knockouts Ultimate X match. First time the women's have done, and the women have done the Ultimate X match. Tasha Steele, Lady Frost, great to see her. Alicia, Jordan Grace, Rosemary, and Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green was a big standout in this. And Tasha Steele winning was exactly the right move. It's one of those where once I realized Tasha Steele was going to win, I went, of course she should have won. She's a natural to get a singles run at this point. There were like it was definitely not the smoothest match, and they were definitely not 100% comfortable on the Ultimate X, and there was some wonky stuff. Don't get me wrong, but the concept of the match was really solid, and it was good. You just wanted the actual execution to be better, but history books are going to remember that this was a significant match, and the right person got put over. I'll say that. X Division Championship match, Trey Miguel versus Steve Macklin. They've done a great job building this thing up. Steve Macklin, for those that don't know, was part of that group, the Forgotten Sons, and has kind of got lost in the shuffle in the wrestling world. But Impact has really been giving him the strong push all the way to Trey Miguel and this X Division match. And Trey Miguel went over, but let me make this clear. It was a great exhibition for Macklin and already a contender for match of the night. It was fantastic. I would say it is worth going to see. Speaking of which, Ring of Honor Championship match, Chris Sabin against Jonathan Gresham. Very, very, very good match. Gresham beats Sabin. They gave Sabin sort of a way out booking wise. You'll have to watch the match yourself to see it, and I would suggest that you watch it if you like, that kind of intense but cleanly executed wrestling. That's your match. Josh Alexander and Jonah was my personal favorite match of the night because it was this hard-hitting, brutal affair, except for the women's hardcore thing. But we'll get to that. That was the last match of the night, which again I thought was a great decision. But Josh Alexander, Jonah definitely delivered. I think Jonah showed his real chops here, and Josh Alexander, the booking of him since he's gone solo in Impact has been nothing short of phenomenal. It is like Roman Reigns level, but obviously Impact is not WWE. But it really has been a stellar booking job for Josh Alexander. He wins in an excellent, excellent match. Hardcore War, Good Brothers and Violent by Design against Heath, formerly Heath Slater, Rhino, Eddie Edwards, Mac, Willie Mack, and Swan. It's good for what it is. It was definitely brutal. It was great to see Rhino, Heath, Swan, Mack, and Edwards defeating the Good Brothers and Violent by Design. But in the end, a Ring of Honor contingent, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Vincent, PCO. I just saw Matt Taven on Thursday at a show in Florida, but here he was. And then Maria Kanellis joined them in the ring as the Ring of Honor guys laid waste to the baby faces in Impact. Super, super crazy and super interesting. And then you had the Impact World Championship match, Matt Cardona, Moose, and W. Morrissey. A fantastic fucking match. Moose ends up retaining, but really, really fantastic. It really was reminiscent of kind of the Attitude Era, how the match was structured and the kind of spots that they did. Hats off to those guys. And then they ended it with the Texas Death Match for the Knockouts title, Mickie James and Deonna Purrazzo. Now, this was considered a foregone conclusion that, of course, Deonna's going to win, and Mickie James, she's going to be in WWE in the Royal Rumble match, and there's a million reasons to put it back on Deonna, and they didn't do it. Mickie James retained in a nice shock and an incredible match between those two. Congratulations, Impact Wrestling. This has set a very high bar for everybody, and frankly, a bar for yourself that I hope you attempt and succeed in maintaining throughout the year. Great job, Impact.